Katha Upanishad, Chapter 1, Section 3. Indriyebhyah para hi artha, arthebhyascha param manah, manasastu para buddhir, buddhir atma mahan parah. Mahatah param avyaktam, avyaktat purushah para, purushan param kinchit, sa kashtha sa paragatiha. So here, these two verses are very philosophical, talking about the hierarchy of principles. They say that beyond the five senses are the objects of the senses. Indriyebhyah para hi artha. Para means beyond. So beyond these sense organs are the objects of the sense organs. Artha means objects. Arthebhyascha param manah. Beyond these objects is the mind. And beyond mind is the buddhi, the intellect, and beyond this intellect is the Atma. Buddhir Atma Mahan Paraha. Beyond this intellect or buddhi is the great self, the Atma. And as we continue to shlok number 11, it says that beyond this great self is the unmanifest. Mahatah param avyaktam. Avyaktam means unmanifest. And beyond this unmanifest is the Purusha. Avyaktat Purushah para. And beyond this Purusha, there is nothing. This is the end of journey, the final goal. Purushan na param kinchit. There is nothing. Kinchit means nothing beyond that, and this is the final goal. Sa paragatiha. So here, these two verses have dissected minutely the stages we need to transcend in our spiritual journey. That is going from our external world into our internal world. We experience our five senses and then move on to reflect upon the objects of those perceptions. As we move more inward, we are able to reflect upon the mind that collects all this data. We then progress to contemplation of intellect, buddhi, that is understanding the thinking process itself. And once we are able to transcend this thinking process, we can perceive the self. But the journey doesn't end here. So as we continue inwards, we can feel the unmanifest, avyakt, that is the prakriti. Beyond this great self, that is the prakriti. And beyond prakriti, beyond unmanifest is the Purusha. That is the supreme self. And there is nothing beyond that. So this Purusha and Prakriti concept is the basis of Samkhya philosophy. It is also mentioned in the verses 20 and 21 of chapter 13 of Bhagavad Gita. So to put this concept in a very digestible form, let's take it like this. In Rig Veda, like it's mentioned, in the beginning there was chaos of waters, floating on which appeared Hiranyagarbha, the golden germ, the firstborn of creation and the creator of all human beings. So this Hiranyagarbha is the soul of the universe. So This Purusha is the highest source of energy, the Supreme Self itself. In these two verses, they have minutely dissected Supreme Self into Purusha and Prakriti. So, Purusha is the highest source of energy, highest source of light, and Prakriti is the unmanifest form being reflected from that highest source of light. Just like the sun, the highest source can be reflected in thousands of drops of water. So Purusha and Prakriti are the two sides of the same coin. The Supreme Self, the pure Self, the Purusha, the highest source of light, is where all the duality or multiplicity of Prakriti gets dissolved. एष सर्वेषु भूतेषु गूढो आत्मा न प्रकाशते दृश्यते त्वग्रया बुद्धया सूक्ष्मया सूक्ष्मदर्शिभिः यच्छेद्वान् मनसि प्रज्ञास्तद्यच्छेद ज्ञान आत्मनि ज्ञानम् आत्मनि महति नियच्छेद तद यच्छेद शांत आत्मनि. So here in the following two verses, the method of yoga has been explained. How with concentration you can go within yourself. Because going within oneself is the only way to understand the Supreme Self, which is beyond words and beyond image. So coming to verse number 12, Esha Sarveshu means this, Esha means this, Sarveshu Bhuteshu means all beings. Guru Atma, Atma is self which is hidden, Guru means hidden. Na Prakashate, it does not shine forth. But, Tva means but, it is seen, Drishyate, by the sharp intellect. Agraya means sharp, intellect. Buddhaya is intellect. And by those people who can see the abstract concepts, Sukshmadarshi Bhiha. So here this self, this Atma is so deeply hidden inside us that we are unable to feel or see it. However, with deep meditation, pure mind, and with a lot of self-control, we can attune ourselves to understand the abstract concept of Atma. And as we continue further in this journey, we will find ourselves going beyond the senses, beyond this intellect, where we can realize the Atma. Now some people ask, why does Atma has to be so deeply hidden? Why can't we perceive this Atma easily? Well, we all can. It is we who have made this so difficult and complicated for ourselves. We first need to detach ourselves from this very Atma. We need to detach ourselves from our ego, and that will immediately open the doors to reveal Atma. But we think that it is I who is working, it is I who is speaking, it is I who is in pain, it is I who is enjoying. No. There is no I. We are not individual entities. It is this Atma, which is a small part of Paramatma that is working through us. We are just the means, that's all. The moment we realize this completely, without an iota of doubt, Atma will reveal itself. So coming to verse number 13. Here, Yached or Yached, this means dissolving or merging. Van means speech or the sense organs. Manasi means mind. Pragyas means the intellectual one, the wise one. So the intelligent seeker should dissolve the speech. The intelligent seeker, that is the pragyas, should dissolve the speech. Yachedvan manasi. Where to dissolve the speech? Into the mind. His mind is to be merged with the intellect. Yached Gyan Atmani. This intellect or buddhi or understanding is to be dissolved in the great self. Jnanam Atmani Mahati Nyached. Atmani Mahati means the great self. And then that should be dissolved in the ocean of peace. Yached Chanta Atmani. So basically, Yamaraj here is saying that this self or Atma, so deeply hidden inside us, that the only way to find is to take an inward journey. For that inward journey, we have to practice yoga. And in these verses, he has explained the process of yogic meditation. It's explained that we need to silence our senses. Whatever thoughts, smells, or words or perceptions our sense organs can see, hear, feel, we need to learn to first restrain them in the mind itself, not to be affected by that. Once that stage is crossed, we will learn to merge our mind with the collective self. We are not individual entities here. We are all connected. So dissolving our personal ego or ahamkar or the I will help in this process tremendously. So before ending this part, I would like to quote some of the words. Let it plainly understood that we cannot return to God unless we enter first into ourselves. God is everywhere, but not everywhere to us. There is but one point in the universe where God communicates with us, and that is the center of our own soul. There He waits for us. There He meets us. There He speaks to us. To seek Him, therefore, we must enter into our own interior. उत्तिष्ठ जाग्रत प्राप्य वरान् निबोधितः शूरस्य धारा निशिता दुरत्यया दुर्गम पथस्तत् कवयो वदन्ति अशब्दम् अस्पर्शम् अरूपम् अव्ययम् तथा अरसम् नित्यम् अगन्धवच्च यत् अनादियनन्तं महतः परं ध्रुवं निचायय तं मृत्युमुखात् प्रमुच्यते. Now here in the verse number 14, it says, arise and awake, uttishta jagrata. Having attained your boons, you arise and awake after having attained your boons. Varan means boons, prapya means attained, and nibodhataha means understand those boons. So arise, awake, having attained your boons, understand them. Uttishta jagrata prapya varan nibodhataha. Shurasya dhara nishita duratayaya. Sharp as the edge of a razor, shurasya dhara, and hard to cross, duratyaya. Durgam pathas, it is a difficult path. Durgam pathas, That's what the sages have declared. Tat kavayo vadanti. So here Yamaraj says that the path of transforming oneself and preparing for the spiritual journey is not easy. This path to supreme, to self-realization is steep, razor sharp and full of setbacks. It is the path that only the strong and determined people can take. The way to reach God is never easy. One can only move ahead with a pure heart and a lot of self-control. This verse is very motivating, and it is the basis of the famous slogan of Swami Vivekananda. I'm sure you all must have heard of it. Arise, awake, and stop not till your goal is achieved. So coming to verse number 15, which means it is describing the Atma. It means a Shabdam, without sound. This self, this Atma is without sound. A Sparsham, without touch. A Rupam, formless. Avyayam means undecaying. Therefore, Tatha means therefore. Since it is without sound, without touch, without form, so it is undecaying. Arasam, it is tasteless. Nityam, it is eternal. Agandhavach means it is without any smell. Anadi Anantam, it is without beginning, without end. And it is beyond the Jivatma. Mahataha Param. Mahataha here means Jivatma. It is beyond. Param means beyond the Jivatma. And by knowing that, one is free from death. Mrityu mukhat pramuchyate. One is freed from the fear of death. So here, when we say one has realized the self or the supreme, what does it mean? In simple words, it means that the person has understood that this Atma is soundless, it is formless, it is without touch, without taste, it is eternal. It has neither a beginning nor it ends. It is beyond this individual self, this Jivatma, it is beyond it also. It is dissolved in Paramatma, Supreme Self. So when one is able to comprehend this completely, then death has no longer any meaning for him. He gets liberated from the cycle of samsara. So here you can see how in the previous verses up to these verses, Yamaraj keeps on dissecting every concept minutely and finally reaches to infinite supreme that ends in Shunya, from when everything emerged. Just like a tree that gives fruit, you break open that fruit and you see a seed. Break open that seed and you see even smaller particles. Keep on breaking those smaller particles until there is nothing left. From this nothing, from this Shunya, everything has emerged. And that's the mystery Yamaraj is trying to explain, and how beautifully he has answered the query of Nachiketa. What do you mean by the liberation of this Atma? This is the answer. Nachiketam upakhyanam mrityu-proktanam sanatanam uktva shrutva cha medhavi brahmaloke mahiyate ya imam paramam guhyam shravayet brahma sansadi prayatah shraddh kale va tadanantyaya kalpat iti. So the verse number 16 says that this ancient story of Nachiketa as narrated by Death is so very significant. Why? Because by telling and hearing it, a wise man, gets glorified in the world of Brahma. Verse number 17 is the concluding verse of chapter 1 of Katha Upanishad. It says that whosoever recites this Upanishad, recites this supreme secret as part of purification ceremony or at the time of ceremonies for the dead, like in times of Shraddh, this will prepare him or her for eternity. So here the chapter 1 of Katha Upanishad ends. And before closing this episode, I want to share some of my feelings with you. What I felt while practicing Katha Upanishad. As you keep on practicing this millions of years old secret, even if you do not achieve the ultimate task of liberating your Atma, you will certainly see a shift in your energies, in your destiny, and that is 100%. You will be able to connect to the cosmic energy and attract abundance to yourself. There are many books in the market. One of the most famous one is The Secret by Rhonda Byrne, and all this theory about the law of attraction that you hear. These are all based upon these deeper knowledge which we just discussed. So once you have tasted the honey of Upanishads, there is simply no going back. You will see many, many doors opening to you. You will feel yourself attracting the energy of the cosmos. You will feel things happening on their own. At least I felt so. You sometimes might also feel the lightness within when you catch a fleeting glimpse of that Paramatma in one of your meditative sessions. And it is so liberating, to say the least. Once you have read and listened mindfully to Katha Upanishad, your journey to liberating the Jivatma has begun. So yes, arise, awake, and stop not. Keep practicing yogic meditation. Thank you.